Unraveling an External Major Data Breach, a deep dive into cyber espionage. Part 2, Controls. Preventing and mitigating external data breaches, essential controls. To safeguard against external data breaches, organizations must adopt a comprehensive set of security controls. These controls span technical measures, policy frameworks, and employee training. Here's an in-depth look at the controls needed to prevent and mitigate external data breaches. 1. Regular patch management. Why it's important. Unpatched software vulnerabilities are a common entry point for attackers. Implementation. Establish an automated patch management system to regularly update all software and operating systems. Prioritize critical patches and ensure they are applied promptly. Maintain an inventory of all software assets to track patch status. Software 2. Employee training and awareness. Why it's important. Human error is a significant factor in many breaches, particularly through phishing attacks. Implementation. Conduct regular security awareness training to educate employees on recognizing phishing attempts and other social engineering tactics. Simulate phishing attacks to test and reinforce training. Encourage a culture of security where employees feel responsible for safeguarding data. 3. Network segmentation. Why it's important. Limits the lateral movement of attackers within the network. Implementation. Divide the network into smaller segments, each protected by firewalls and access controls. Use VLANs, virtual local area networks, to isolate sensitive data and critical systems. Implement strict access controls to ensure only authorized personnel can access each segment. 4. Multi-factor authentication, MFA. Why it's important. Adds an additional layer of security beyond just usernames and passwords. Implementation. Require MFA for all access to sensitive systems and data. Use a combination of something the user knows, password, something the user has, security token or smartphone, and something the user is, biometric verification. Regularly review and update MFA methods to ensure they remain effective against emerging threats. 5. Intrusion Detection and Prevention Systems, IDPS. Why it's important. Detects and prevents malicious activities in real time. Implementation. Deploy IDPS to monitor network traffic and system activities for suspicious behavior. Use signature-based detection to identify known threats and anomaly-based detection to flag unusual activities. Ensure the IDPS is regularly updated with the latest threat intelligence. 6. Regular security audits and penetration testing. Why it's important. Identifies and remediates vulnerabilities before attackers can exploit them. Implementation. Conduct regular security audits to assess the effectiveness of existing controls. Perform penetration testing to simulate real-world attacks and identify weaknesses. Address findings promptly and track remediation efforts. 7. Data encryption. Why it's important. Protects data from unauthorized access, even if it is intercepted. Implementation. Encrypt sensitive data both in transit, using protocols like TLS, SSL, and at rest, using disk encryption or database encryption. Use strong encryption algorithms and manage encryption keys securely. Regularly review and update encryption practices to align with current standards. 8. Access control and least privilege. Why it's important. Minimizes the risk of unauthorized access to sensitive data. Implementation. Implement role-based access control, RBAC, to ensure users have only the permissions necessary for their roles. Enforce the principle of least privilege, granting users the minimum level of access required to perform their tasks. Regularly review and update access permissions. 9. Security Information and Event Management, SIEM. Why it's important. Centralizes logging and enables comprehensive monitoring and analysis. Implementation. Deploy a SIEM system to collect, analyze, and correlate logs from various sources across the network. Use SIEM to detect patterns indicative of a breach and respond swiftly. Ensure continuous monitoring and regular fine-tuning of SIEM rules. 10. Endpoint protection. Why it's important. Protects individual devices from being compromised and used as entry points. Implementation. Deploy advanced endpoint protection solutions, including antivirus, anti-malware, and endpoint detection and response, EDR. Ensure endpoints are regularly updated and patched. Implement device control policies to manage and secure all devices connecting to the network. 11. Incident response planning. Why it's important. ensures a quick and effective response to minimize damage during a breach. Implementation. Develop and maintain an incident response plan detailing the steps to take in the event of a breach. Establish an incident response team with clear roles and responsibilities. Conduct regular drills and tabletop exercises to test and refine the incident response plan. 12. Third-party risk management. Why it's important. Mitigates risks introduced by vendors and partners. Implementation. Assess the security practices of third-party vendors before engaging with them. Include security requirements in contracts and service-level agreements, SLAs. Continuously monitor third-party activities and conduct regular security reviews. Conclusion. Preventing and mitigating external data breaches requires a multifaceted approach, combining technical controls, employee education, and robust policies. By implementing these controls, organizations can significantly reduce their risk of experiencing a breach and be better prepared to respond effectively if one does occur. Maintaining a proactive stance on cybersecurity ensures that defenses evolve alongside emerging threats, helping to protect sensitive data and maintain trust with customers and stakeholders. For further reading and in-depth guidelines, explore these resources. OWASP Security Guidelines. NIST Cybersecurity Framework, CIS Controls.